That is part of that conditioning. But here's an actual plan that's on the books, that's part of legislation, and the plan is entitled 21 million American Negroes. And basically they want to put you in detention centers.
We got to read that. I don't know if you can get it on your web. We got to read that on the streets, man.
Con.
And I'm bringing this book.
Yeah, so these are
and this is what you're supposed to be teaching, man.
Exactly.
You know, not cooking slime burgers and shit and doing catons, man. Like you're going to take over something.
That's right. What's the name of that article? 21 million American Negroes. It says, today, Mr. Brinkerhoff. Now, this character, Brinkerhoff, was the deputy general of this another character by the name of Louis Dreyfus. Now, Louis Dreyfus's plan of 21 million American Negroes be detained, that goes back to 1970. Now,
let's hope this is not a hoax.
Yeah. This character Brinkerhoff, he's just carrying on the torch of what Louis Dreyfus lit way back in 1970. Okay, so the point is that this plan has been put into effect by legislation and is going to happen at the appropriate time. So it's our job to warn you of these things. Anyway, it says, today Mr. Brinkerhoff is with the highly influential ANSA, Institute for Homeland Security. Now, there's two words you should be familiar with: Homeland Security. And by the way, Hitler in Germany, he had Fatherland Security. So we have Homeland Security. And Hitler's second book, his first book was Mein Kampf, which is German for My Struggle. His second book was called The New World Order. Now, what do we have today? What's on the back of your American dollar bill? Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means New World Order. Right? So it's all there, man. Following a request by the Pentagon in January that the U.S. military be allowed the option of deploying troops on American streets. So when the hour of martial law is in full effect, you will see American troops on American streets. And they gave you an example of that during a hurricane, the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, when they had the news article, the TV news article, and they showed you Americans patrolling the streets down there. Because what you had was like a mini civil war, man. You had so-called white people with guns that were shooting at so-called black people. Right? Because so-called black people, they had nothing to eat. They were destitute. A lot of their homes was destroyed. So they were roaming the streets. And you had the so-called white man saying, look, if they come over here, we're going to blast them. And that's what they were doing. When it looked like the so-called black man was going to go in a white neighborhood down there in, what is that? Down there in New Orleans, New Orleans. When it looked like a so-called black man would go in that neighborhood, you had the so-called white man shooting at him. So they deployed the National Guard out there, and they looked like U.S. troops. So that was just a trial run, that the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. All right? So it's going to happen again. That's the point. Reading on, it says, Mr. Brinkerhoff, arguing the legality of this, he alleged that the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which has long been accepted as prohibiting such deployments, had simply been misunderstood and misapplied. And that shows you the devil at work. He'll write a law and say that, it's unlawful for the military to be sent after the people or sent against the people. Then they'll turn around and break that law. Now they're saying that the military is necessary to govern the people. And that's what martial law is. Martial law is nothing but when the military takes over the government. That's exactly what martial law is.
Yeah, when to be more exact, when the military takes over the civil government.
Yeah, the civil government.
And when that happens, the concept, you can't be talking about that First Amendment. I got my First Amendment, my Second Amendment, my Fourth Amendment. Ain't gonna be they're gonna grab you up. You quote an amendment and they're gonna grab your ass up and they're gonna throw you into a damn whatever a damn MRAP or whatever, some damn paddy wagon or some damn 18-wheeler. And well, they showed you that in that movie, The Handmaid's Tale, in the opening scene. And there was a scene where they showed Jake all up in there, man. They had Jacob in one truck, and they had Edomite woman in another, and they had the black woman in another. So they're showing you, man. And that movie came out in the 90s, man.
Yeah.
And then on the trucks, you had the pyramid. You had the pyramid symbol, all of the All Seeing Eye,
which
Illuminati.
is the New World Order symbol.
So you Negroes keep playing and bullshitting like you've been doing, and you're going to get caught up in there, man.
Yeah, no,
and it's not going to be a game no more, because you got all these Israelite groups that don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's just that do the Israel thing. That's all you're doing.
Yeah,
you're teaching classes, you're doing sit downs, you're going out on the high, and you don't even know why you're going. Like this guy Baloo, nigga, you haven't been out there in what 2-3 years,
right?
And all of a sudden now you popped out,
right? It's a game.
It's a game with you, man. And the Most High gonna get all you niggas swept up.
Hey, well, like Elder Tar said, swept up. Well, that's part of the plan, to grab 21 million American Negroes and bring them to detention camps. Now, in those detention camps, a lot of those detention camps are like really extermination camps, because inside those camps they have guillotines, they have all manner of torture instruments designed to torture you so-called Negroes, especially those of you that claim that you're Hebrew Israelites. And we have legislation to prove that Project Megiddo, they look at you as being a black militant. It clearly says that in Project Megiddo. So we tell you, brothers, marvel not when the next attack or attacks happen. Marvel not if you get visits from the American government, officials from the American government arresting you and detaining you. Marvel not if you're sent to a detention center.
That's part of the hour of temptation.
That's it.
There's going to be a point where they're going to come in and they're not going to leave. Martial law is going to come in, and martial law, you're going to experience martial law for a long time, man. And it ain't going to. And once martial law is cleared on a national level, it ain't going to go back to the good old days of America, man.
Nope.
Because after that, you're going to have the mark of the beast is going to be a part of that. All right? Where you're going to be chipped. If you want to eat, you're going to have to get chipped. If you want medical care, you're going to have to get chipped. If you want to buy something, you're going to have to get chipped. So you're going to have to make that decision when that experience comes. There's not going to be no game playing. See, now you clowns out there playing games like it's a big game. You know? But there's going to be a time where when they declare martial law, that's it. It ain't going to go back to the good old days, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and you might be held as something called a political prisoner because you're representing another kingdom. You're saying that Yahushai's kingdom is coming to destroy the so-called white man's kingdom. So that's a very definition of what? Insubordinate, being insubordinate. That's the very definition of being a rebel against the status quo being the so-called white man's kingdom. So you're going to have to make a choice, man. You know, are you going to trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai all the way, no matter what you have to endure, or are you going to fold and give way to the so-called white man? Which, if you do that, you're going to be destroyed anyway. So, like Elder Tar said, man, game playing is over, man. You know, and the Lord put the Spirit on us, beginning from Elder Tar on down. The Lord is putting the Spirit on us to warn you of these things. And we're making
you niggas that think that it's not going to come, but you believe in the scriptures.
You keep thinking that.
Give me Revelation 2:10.
Yeah, you keep dreaming in La La Land.
This is the book of Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So basically, the scripture is telling you that what's going to happen. That the devil, which is Esau, the so-called white man, is going to cast some of you into prison.
Well, that's detention. That lines up with the detention of 21 million American Negroes, and especially you ones that know that you're Hebrew Israelites. You're on the top of the list. Then you other so-called black militant groups. Yeah, even you, that black unconsciousness bullshit, even you're going to be grabbed up, man, and brought to a detention center. And your faith is your faith is going to be tried and tested. You know, do you really believe in that black consciousness bullshit, or do you believe in that guillotine that's put right before you if you don't take that chip? And one of the things they're going to offer you is that chip, like it's